reading. We are not reading from Alone, Book One, Growing Up in Alexandra. We are rather doing something different. I am teaching today. I wear a life coach stroke teacher hat. Today, as you have come to learn that from time to time, we take a break from reading memoirs from the memoirist, and then I become the life coach and a teacher. And so far, the theme that we've covered has been around the mother. You will recall a few videos ago, I introduced you, and I don't mean introduced you because you didn't know. I mean, introduced you from my teachings to the concept of the mother wound, and we touched on the different types of the mother, why the mother is so important, why a mother wound is the wound to heal. If you are to do any healing work, and you know that a lot of your issues are related to your relationship with your mother, that is the wound that I normally encourage my clients and students to start there, because a lot of your problems are linked to that. And we will continue on that theme because it is a big one. It is an important one. And it is part of my teachings at my platforms, on my Patreon. I'm going to be deepening on that. And during Mother's Month in May, the past few years, I have been zoning in and zooming in on the mother wound. So yes, mother wound is the wound to heal. And I will be running a separate standalone course over at Patreon where I do all my teachings. I mean, the thing that I do here on YouTube is really just the tip of the iceberg. The real work, the real deep dive is on my Patreon. The information is right here on the screen, as you can see. You just simply join, and if there is anything that speaks to you, you can then join that membership. That is also one way of supporting some of our work as teachers and creatives and writers and so on, because the capitalist world is not very friendly to the likes of us. But yeah, so for today, I thought maybe let's just backtrack a bit. Let us start from the beginning. Let's do some basics on what exactly is healing. And I always believe that the best way to explain something is to explain first what it is not, and then you come to what it is. And so for this series, I want to do four things. This video is about what healing is not. The next video is going to be about what healing is. And then I want to talk about why you need to heal as a woman and why you need to heal as a man. So that's a series of four. And if you like what you're hearing, we can always deepen it where? At Patreon. But for now, it's just a video, teaching videos for general information for you to learn basics. But if you want to dive deep, you know what to do. Okay. So why do I want to do healing? It's because it is the buzzword, it is the in thing right now. Everyone is talking about healing. I mean, even as far as the workplace, even though they skate around the issue, they don't really delve deep into it, but it is now already in the lexicon, in the workplace lexicon. They are now talking about healing in the workplace. Some of it disguise it under mental health. I still want to understand what people mean by mental health, by the way, because what it is really about healing. And so sometimes when those who don't want to own up to the word healing, they use, phrases like wellness and phrases like take care of your mental health. Yeah, as if you are just a mental body, a mental entity. Meanwhile, you have a whole body, a whole system where healing actually happens, because healing happens in the body. And we'll get there when we do the healing work. So I got some notes here so that I don't run off on a tangent and I don't make this video longer than it needs to be. So what healing is not. So let's start there. Healing is not gathering information. So I've noticed that a lot of people who are open to the idea of healing, open to the idea of seeing a coach, seeing a healer, seeing a therapist, tend to be information gatherers. And these people are people who, and this is good, by the way, it's not bad at all, but it is not necessarily healing. It's part of it, but it's not healing. So you find a lot of them are book buyers. They buy a lot of self-help books and they read them. There are people who are very, very invested in understanding their own issues. Like, I know what my issues are. I know what my toxic trait is. I know that I was abandoned as a kid. I know that I had an absent father. I know that my mother was mostly unavailable. I know that I have rejection and abandonment issues. But knowing and having information about what your issues are is not healing. That's not healing. That's just knowing. That's just learning. And that's a beautiful step, because some people don't even know that you need to first be aware, you need to first know that I have this trait, I have this problem. And but a lot of people end there. And guess what they keep doing? Then they keep gathering even more information. They will come to the workshop on healing the mother wound. They will listen to a podcast on healing the mother wound. They will gather a lot of books on healing, whatever it is that they're struggling with, on relationship dynamics, but they do not actually take that step of healing. Sometimes they go as far as seeing a coach. I mean, I have had a lot of people come to me and we will have session one and maybe session two and they're gone. Because by session two, I am now starting to get us to do some healing work. And they're not gonna, I don't know what is it with this fly. And it's cold. Yeah, it's too cold for a fly. But anyway, because I am not retaking this. So the moment we start now delving deep into the actual work of healing, they start missing sessions. Luckily, I don't get those anymore. That's back in the days. These days, the clients I'm getting are really serious about their work. And I'm blessed to get clients who are also very, very gifted, very, very powerful people. To find clients who are prepared to go the distance. My sessions, the minimum session with me is 8 sessions, and the maximum is a year long. And I had a client who has been seeing me for a whole year in the whole of 2023. And she invested and she did so much work, and she's a completely different person right now. So healing is not gathering of information or learning or that's intellectualizing. That's not healing. Okay. And like I said, healing is not knowing your issues. You just know them. That doesn't mean you are healing them. Healing is also not joining a group or attending workshops or attending events and ticking that you've attended an event. That is not healing. That is step number one, or it's even half a step, because you are moving towards the right direction. Okay. So the second one is that healing is not about perfection or positivity. So you are not healed because you are always positive. In fact, that's quite the opposite. That's a red flag. Healing is not constant positivity or constant perfection, looking constantly well, not having a bad day. Whenever you are feeling offish, you motivate yourself, you sing, you do that. That's not necessarily a sign of a healed person. If anything, it's a sign of a person who's avoiding a lot of things. So over positivity, over optimism, needing to be overly perfect, needing to not have a sad day or a bad day or an off day or an angry day. That, my friends, is not a sign of a healed person. It is almost quite the opposite. And I mean, I had a client who did not last long with me. She came for about 2 sessions, who was worried that she's getting sad, that she has a lot of sad days. And I made her watch a movie. I made her watch Inside Out. Please watch Inside Out, guys. That is a beautiful, beautiful demonstration of what healing can look like. And there is no healing without big, deep, sad, ugly cry days. You need those. Those are actually the way to go in, because as you know, tears and crying is a way of purifying you and getting rid of the toxins within. So if you find yourself feeling like a bad day is a problem, you are the one that needs a lot of healing. Toxic positivity is not a sign of people who are healed. That was the early days of New Ageism. When New Age started hitting becoming a thing in the early 2000s, everything was about positive thinking, positive this, go, yeah, go, 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 go. And there was a time and an era for that. We were still new, but then that era came with its own shadow. The shadow is that you are pushing positivity at the expense of very, very deep emotions that you need to feel, such as sadness, such as grief, such as utter heartbreak, such as shame and guilt that you need to feel and release, feel and release. And we'll talk about that when we talk about what healing really is. So no, positivity, overly perfect, overly those people that creep you out, like, how are you? I'm fine. Mm-mm. Like, how was your weekend? It was wonderful. I'm highly favored. Mm-mm. That's not a sign of a healed person. Quite the opposite. Okay. What else? Number three, or is it number three or is it number two? Number three, healing is not a once off. This is the thing that gets debated a lot in our circles that, so are you going to be healing until you are 92? Yeah, it's a yes and no. Yes, for as long as you are human, for as long as you are living, for as long as you are experiencing things, for as long as you are growing and evolving, you are going to be facing up some stuff to heal. There's going to be things that you heal. I'll tell you why. If you have an issue, let's say, what example can I use that will everybody can relate to? If you have an imposter syndrome type of issue, or if you struggle with self-esteem or confidence, right? And you meet with me or any other coach or therapy, and you're saying, listen, I struggle with imposter syndrome, I struggle with confidence and maybe self-esteem. And at the time you meet me, you were just a supervisor or you were just at a particular level in the workplace because that low confidence, that low self-esteem, that imposter syndrome finds expression in your workspace, right? And then I work with you, and then I give you some tools, I give you some ways to work around it. I help you dig deep and see where it comes from, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to a point where you now are okay and you're like, hey, actually, I don't have that issue anymore. And then guess what happens? You get promoted into middle management or slightly senior. And guess what happens? That issue comes back around. So healing is cyclical, it's a spiral, but it's not a cycle that goes around and around, same thing over. It's this way. It's this way. The higher you go, the more the pattern is going to come back. But then it will not come back the same way. It will come back showing you a different aspect, a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, or something else that you need to work on, something else that you need to unearth, something else that you need to stretch a little bit on. But it is the same type of thing. This is why you find people saying, I actually thought I dealt with that. Yeah, you did at that level, but now you are higher. You are at a different altitude and you need more tools. You need a bigger dashboard. You need more things to press on. You can't operate on that one because now there's this. Leadership comes with other dynamics. Now you need to maybe strengthen your no muscle. Maybe you need to strengthen your yes muscle as well. Maybe you need to soften somewhere a little bit. Maybe you need to delegate more. Maybe you need to be less hands-on. And it will then challenge that imposter syndrome that, hey, maybe I don't belong here. Maybe this is not who I thought I was. And then you come back for a session and we unpack that. And then ganjalo, you move from that company to another company. There's different dynamics. The issue returns again. Are you with me? That's what we mean by healing is ongoing. It is not a once off. Which is why, I mean, the best example again is gym. Do you go to gym and get a six pack and that's it? You are done. No. You keep going back and you're not going back to redo the same thing. You keep going back to maintain if you are a six pack person or if you want glutes that are tight or whatever it is. But you keep going back to gym, not because you are burning that old fat that you had. You are just maintaining because if you stop, it will come back. So gym is and diet and healing is the same, which is why us coaches and people in the healing space, we always say that in your budget, which is something that we don't do as South Africans, but it's slowly getting there, slowly getting there. I mean, for the fact that I get clients and I get a bit of work, I would love more. But the fact that there is work and there are people who are on my Patreon who are saying we need this just tells you that people are now incorporating it into their lifestyle. So having a coach, the same way that you have a trainer, a personal trainer, the same way that you have a hair technician, for someone for your nails, if you have a little bit of money, a personal trainer, a gym, a dietitian, if you need to have a budget for your coach. And if you know that it's someone that you'll be working with for a while, a budget can be set up so that you're not paying high amounts because coaches are not cheap. I know. I don't know. I don't think I'm very expensive. So yeah, it's something that you really just want to incorporate in your own life to have an ongoing thing with a life coach of some sort. Okay. What else? Number four, number five, I don't know. Healing is not, you don't outsource your healing. And it's good because it follows on the previous point. You can't outsource your healing to a coach or a sangoma or a therapist. And what do we mean by outsourcing? We mean, if I say to you, if we have a session and it's an hour, or I normally give longer, an hour, 30 minutes, and we process whatever, because the session is meant for you to just talk things out, and I'll probe with my questions, and we will process a few things. And then I say to you, here is your homework. I need you to journal about this, and that. I need you to revisit this situation. I need you to observe this and this and that. I need you to meditate on this. I need you to contemplate on this and that. I need you to watch this movie. I need you to read this passage. I need you to watch this YouTube channel. And I need you next session we discuss, and I want to see what came out of it. If you don't do any of those things, you are not in session. You are not in a coaching session. You are not healing. That is not healing. You are now outsourcing it to me. You want me to you want me to do the work for you. And the reason as a coach, like if someone comes to me and I immediately in the first 30, maybe an hour of talking to them, and I know exactly what the problem is or where the issues lie. If I tell you what it is and tell you what to do exactly specifically, I am robbing you of the necessary work and the necessary muscle growing of your own healing. It's like in this example, some of my friends or some of my students are going to roll their eyes because I overuse it. It's like I'm taking you and I'm putting you in an elevator up the mountain. I'm putting you in an elevator and I'm pushing you up the mountain. And then you get up the mountain and you can't breathe, you're too cold, you can't stand because the altitude is different. It's high, it's thin air, it's too cold, and you can't cope and you fall back down. That's me putting you in an elevator if I tell you what to do and why you must do it and when. But if I say to you, journal about this, read about this, watch this movie, observe this and this is you climbing that mountain on your own. And as you climb that mountain, you develop the muscle, you acclimatize to the altitude, you acclimatize to the weather, you acclimatize, you know that, oh, it's a bit cold here. I need to take this and this. I need to wear this jacket. I need to wear the heated vest. You would know what to do. And by the time you get to the top of the mountain, you are breathing fine, you are enjoying the horizon, you are well. But if I put you in an elevator, by telling you exactly what to do, then you've outsourced your healing to me. And I got you. That is generally what church does to people. People who avoid healing and going to church. Church has a place in the world. Church has a place in our society. Church has done a lot. I mean, I talk about church a lot. I read the Bible a lot. But going to church is not healing. Going to church and listening to a pastor and listening to a profound verse and getting moved and getting inspired is not healing. It's the same as the first point. It's gathering information, it's learning. Has a little bit of growth, it has a role, but it is not healing. Healing is way, way more involved. And we will talk about what healing is with the next video, with the next teaching video, because I do more things here. I don't just teach, I also read. The next teaching video is going to be about what exactly then is healing. And you don't want to miss that. For now, let me leave it here and say, this is my story. I cannot wait to hear yours.